It'd be something around the lead generation and the marketing, like learn it and do it. Spend a lot of your time of your day just finding out how to generate more sales.
G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Trewin. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it. Welcome, everyone. Today I'm interviewing Nathan Baws from NumberFied. He's based in Perth, Australia. Thanks for your time today, Nathan.
My pleasure, Troy. Thanks for having me, mate.
Let's start with how we know each other. Your PR team reached out, thought you'd be a great guest for us, and it sounds like you and I are going to have a bit of a business off because you've also had 15 of your own businesses.
Yeah. I mean, the crazy thing with business is you just keep seeing opportunities when you're in that zone, right? It's very hard to say no. There's a lot of shiny itis out there.
Yep.
As entrepreneurs, as you obviously know as well, with your numbers pretty high. There's just so many opportunities. So for people that say there's nothing out there, got to start looking better.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell our audience a bit about your business. We'll focus on NumberFied for now, and then we'll go through the whole journey and the other 14 businesses in the next question.
Sure. So NumberFied is a business that we set up because it was the dream business that I always wish I had. In that, so I'm in the business of growth. So we love growing businesses, whatever type or flavor they are. We don't really care. It's just finding opportunities and angles to grow a business. And I love doing it at zero cost. So what I've always wanted from my bookkeepers and accountants over the years in different businesses is something that I've never been given. And it's a growth mindset. So, as a business owner, I think the most valuable thing is knowing how to grow a business. And I've always kind of thought that the bookkeeper or the accountant might get involved in that level. Disappointingly, they had never. So, and the reality is that it's not really their skill set or passion, one of the two. But it just makes sense that a bookkeeper would know your numbers. They know your numbers inside out better than anyone else. And with a bit of direction they could give you, in theory, in my mind, they would be able to guide us in the right direction. So that never happened. And I reached out to a couple of mates and said, hey, has your bookkeeper or accountant ever really been involved in the growth of your business? And they all sort of just laughed and said, yeah, right, that would never happen. So I got to the point.
It's hard enough because, as I said before we hit record, I've also had 15 businesses like yourself in 3 countries. And so I've worked with a shit ton of accountants, and most of them are shitful. So it's hard enough to find a good accountant on the best of days, let alone one with a growth mindset.
100%. Absolutely. I mean, they and the interesting point of difference with accountants is there really isn't a point of difference or bookkeepers. And so I was actually, funny enough, I created NumberFied because there was a time where I needed a new accountant for a new business, and I was ringing around, and I rang 21 accountants, and I said to them, great, what can you do for me? And I was just hoping that they would say something that would excite me, that would light me up. And they would all say, oh, yes, well, we're fantastic at compliance. And the reason you should choose us is because we have more experience than anyone else. And funnily enough, the other 20 accountants said identically the same thing.
Yeah.
So I thought, bloody hell, there's a massive opportunity here. There is such an opportunity to stand out as an accountant, as a bookkeeper. We could stand out. What is the number one thing that every single business owner wants on the planet? It's growth, right? Business growth. They want to we're not in business for any other reason. We want to generate cash flow. We want to generate profit. Otherwise you wouldn't be in business. So in fact, there's a study that was put out by Squarespace recently, 2024, and it said the number one thing that they interviewed tons of business owners. And of course, the number one thing was they all want growth. So I thought, well, what if we put business growth together with bookkeeping and offered a service that people would get that would be the absolute dream list of everything that I've ever wanted in my business to grow. So that meant anything that was related to increasing sales. So we put together a team of SEO specialists. We put together a team of organic lead generation specialists that could do outreach at zero cost and generate appointments, etc. for sales. Graphic designers we've got in there, and we do a whole bunch of sales and negotiations training. So we put together the absolute dream list of every professional, and it had to be super, super freaking reasonably priced, right? Because you can put that dream list together, but most businesses couldn't afford it. So what we did is we've outsourced. We've gathered team members from Pakistan, Philippines, India, America, Australia, and the UK, and we've got all these good people together, and we've structured it in a way that we can help people grow their business. We connect on a weekly basis, and we help them get over their biggest hurdle related to business growth, and we do their books for them. So that was the impetus of putting together. Is this something that I always wanted, always craved, and never had? So that's how that one came.
Me too. Yeah, I've written about this before in the weekly leadership email. The title of the email was "Hug Your Accountant." So basically, when you find a great accountant, hug them and never let them go, because they are pretty rare to find. And what's your take on AI as a potential threat for what you guys offer down the track?
Loving it and embracing it. It's just letting us to do tenfold the amount of content and generation. We can get a business up and running in 4 hours with AI, and we've done that repetitively. So I just think it's great. I mean, who knows where it's going, but if we're on the cusp, and that's what I always tell the whole team, you guys got to embrace it. Otherwise, we're not going to be hanging out together for too long. So you've got to be able to implement that AI and embrace it. Otherwise, that's going to replace your job, or someone with the skill set of AI will replace your job. So I'm a big fan.
How did you start out? Let's go through the other 14.
So originally, the motivation behind starting into business was because we were eating far too many potatoes at a very young age, and potatoes are soon enough worked out were pretty cheap, and Mum didn't really have too much cash. Single parent raised us. So we, at 6 years old, I launched my first aviation business, which was actually making paper airplanes.
Love it.
And giving Richard Branson a run for his money, which we fell a little bit short on. Didn't make any sales, but I was in the zone of this is cool. Like, we could make something and then sell it and then get paid. And it was like, that is really, really exciting. So I did that, failed dismally, but found the passion for just like, wow, like I don't have to eat potatoes for my whole life. There is ways of influencing the direction of where my life is going. And so I had to learn a whole bunch of stuff along the way, but then had a variety of different businesses, and just like we said before, just seeing opportunities in different areas. So my first one, I actually trained as a naturopath, so studying health, and I found that there was this particular machine that did analysis of the body, and the college was encouraging people to take it home and practice with it, and it was like a $10,000 machine. So I thought, oh well, this is a great opportunity. Maybe I can charge people as I practice on them as guinea pigs. So took it to a market, and I started making sort of in a day's worth of trade, I'd make what most people were making in a week. And I thought, this is crazy. This is just amazing. So that got me fired up, and I had a few jobs, like most people do. Worked in Red Rooster and Hungry Jack's and a fruit and veg shop, and learned a few basics of customer service. And then basically one thing after another, I managed a group of pharmacies, and I learned from a pharmacist who is a phenomenal, one of the biggest players in Australia actually now in pharmacy, owns a ton of them. And I just had him as a mentor, and he paid me, which was just crazy, because I thought the value that I was getting as a mentor was just enough on its own. But so I managed his health section of 8 of his pharmacies for 8 years, and then learnt enough, went out on my own, and then built my first health shop. That started doing really well. We were doing about 18 grand every 3 days, because it was over a 3-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That went well. So then opened up 2 more health shops, took over one health shop that another person had that was failing, and stepped into it and turned it around, changed the staff, put a great manager in, and we started making money in about 6 months. And then after 3 health shops, I thought, well, how do we scale? We've got good cash flow, good turnover. What can I do more within the existing infrastructure? And it was all about, let's build a supplement brand. So we had the people coming in. So I built a very small brand. There was 4 products in it, and replaced our biggest sellers for my own brand. And that went really well, huge margins. And then I thought, well, let's scale that, and I took it across Australia and sold it to health shops and pharmacies. And then after that, went to the UK, started playing around with property. And that was just around the financial crisis, where the market just crashed and we couldn't get any finance. No banks were lending back in 2009, 2010. So we came up with a creative strategy, and we utilized creative finance for property and started acquiring property without any money of our own. Had a couple of kids, came back to Australia, thought that was a nicer place to hang out with kids, and went into restaurants, built 3 restaurants, lost a ton of money.
I'm going to say you're a masochist. You and that hospital.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. Yeah, they say if you want to make $1 million in restaurants, start with 2 million.
And open a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's only Ollie, a mate of mine that I've mentored years ago, has now moved to Portugal. Several business ideas. I remember we were having a beer at the pub, and he told me this latest idea, which was he and his brother, who was a chef from Melbourne, just signed a lease on a restaurant. And I said, Ollie, there's a good fucking reason why you didn't tell me about this until you signed the lease, because you know what I'm about to say.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, I mean, they're great for hemorrhaging cash. You really need to know what you're doing in that industry. And it's so funny because so many people think they can do it. And I'd just come off the back of a 7-figure exit from health shops and thinking I'm invincible. So, I know business, right? And then life has a good way of smacking you in the face and saying, no, you don't. So that was interesting. And then so I built from one, then launched it on Shark Tank. We pitched on Shark Tank Australia, and then built 2 more restaurants, and then realized, probably this wasn't the game for me. So got rid of 2 of them, kept one, and transformed that one into sort of a catering, and then went more down the home deliveries and really scaled our home deliveries. So we do lots of that now within that business. And then, a bunch of other things since. Weight loss program in Indonesia, which is a bit of fun. And NumberFied is our sort of main one we're focusing on now to grow and get stuck into.
And what year did you start NumberFied, and how old were you then?
Very recently. So we'd been building the team for a couple of years and doing it on a small level, and then more recently we've just scaled it and packaged it, because we had all these little elements of SEO team and lead generation team and accounting team. We had all and then we've just really literally brought it all together very, very recently as a package that we can offer as the dream package of everything that we figured we wanted as business owners, and then other business owners would want to get involved in. So yeah.
So what year would you say you started it?
Well, I guess it would have been 2016 was when we started really building the team, but literally the package came together this year. Yep. So the package, bringing it all together with all the team under the one roof.
Yep.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
So if we say you did start in 2016, then how old were you then 9 years ago?
About 45. Yeah.
Well, we are very similar. You're 53.
I turned 51 now. Yeah.
Oh, 51. So 9 years. So
I've done my maths right?
No, 42. So you're 51. Geez, mate, we're very similar apart from having the same haircut. 15.
I was just about to say that.
I'm 51 as well. So.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. When's your birthday?
November. Late November. Yeah.
I'm July. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Same with you. And give my regards to your barber as well.
Yeah, thank you. Do you have some key numbers you can share to illustrate the growth of NumberFied over the last 9 years?
NumberFied's a little bit trickier because we've had different elements in different
Yeah.
places. Tommy Sugo is a very easy one to reference. That's my food business. So that's had ups and downs along the way, and we've morphed from the original concept of restaurants and found that we're losing lots of money. So to give you a range of money lost, we were losing about 10 to 20 grand every month through that. Which was really good fun for a very short period of time. You want to cut that, so we had to make the decision of chopping those restaurants, and that was really hard psychologically. I think that's really hard as an entrepreneur, saying you stuff that one up. What are you going to do about it? And I think we just think, no, I can fix it. I can work through it. But having the guts to draw a line in the sand and say, nah, that's pulling too much of my energy. I've got to step away from that. That's not where my full skills are. That's not what I'm great at. So I did that eventually after a lot of coaching and mentoring from other team members to say, no, just shut the doors. And that was a fantastic decision that I made. So we went from losing 10 to 20 grand a week, a month, to turning over 7 figures by diverting into, we went into home delivery. We set it up as a fundraising. We've got about 7 different channels of income that we've structured it now. So yeah, we use the products for fundraising. So we collaborate with a ton of different schools, clubs and charities, and we do joint ventures with them, and they sell our products and get a commission. So that works really well. We've got licensees in that sell our products in farmers markets and supermarket shopping centres that go around. We've got wholesale. We do a lot of catering. So we've converted that store that wasn't doing too well and really fired up the catering with a lot of SEO. So we get a lot of leads coming in through that now, and we do, really good size caterings of a couple of hundred people up to each time. So that one's getting, currently we're tracking on about 98% growth year on year of that.
That's
so
amazing. Yeah.
Well done.
So,
I mean, yes, we had a pretty bad starting point, so that was easy but that was about 4 or 5 years ago. But now we're in that sort of growth rate, and it's just so much fun just finding those little angles of, okay, how can we sell a few more to a few more people?
Yep.
So yeah.
And what about number of full-time equivalent team members you started with in NumberFied and where you're at now?
Yep. So NumberFied, we had teams all over the place, team members that we sourced, and we really literally started with one VA, virtual assistant, and so we put together a team of VAs, accountants, bookkeepers, and business growth, and so we're up to just under 80 team members currently, and that's across the US, Australia, the UK, Philippines, India, and Pakistan. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing growth. Well done.
Yeah, it's a challenge. And as an entrepreneur, it's sort of, like you were just saying, there's ups and downs every single day. It's not smooth sailing.
When was the moment you felt like you had succeeded?
I've had a couple of good sales of different assets over the years, businesses and properties and things. And every time you hit one of those, you think, fantastic, this is really awesome. But I don't know. I think as an entrepreneur, you're never really sure where your next dollar's coming from, although there's, you've got consistent cash flows in different areas. And I think possibly my background with being brought up with very, very little money, I think that gives you it certainly given me a level of motivation to keep going. So I don't think I've really hit that comfort level of, I am successful. I think that's still to come. Hopefully I'll feel that one day. Yeah.
What does success look like to you?
I think success for me is certainty in multiple businesses generating income without me actively involved.
Yeah.
So getting closer to that, but not there, not any stretch of the imagination. There's a lot more that I want to achieve.
Number one thing you'd recommend to marketing a fast-growing business?
Having a very consistent lead generation process. So new business, I mean, sales fix everything pretty much. There's really not much that a sale or multiple sales can't fix. You can increase your skill set within your team. You can leverage your time. So for me, it's all about how do we generate more leads? How do we generate more appointments? And how do we do that without it costing us money? So they're the things that I really focus on. About probably 60% of each day goes into those sort of lead generation processes.
And how did you fund your business?
Most of them have all been self-funded. I remember I was in a market in Fremantle Markets was where I first started out, and I was doing health consultations with people there. And I'd been there doing it for a couple of years, and I'd been keeping an eye on this site that I thought that would be the ultimate site within the market to be able to get that one day. And a couple of years later, it came up for sale. So they were asking $75,000 for this corner site. It was a brilliant site where all the probably one of the busiest spots in the market. And Fremantle Market, if you don't know it, it's a key tourist attraction. It's really popular in Western Australia. So I went to my accountant, funny enough, and I said to him, "These guys want $75,000 for the store." And he said, "Great, what do you get for it?" And I said, "A space." And he said, yeah, but what infrastructure is included in that? And I said, "Nothing." And he said, "What are you, crazy? What, you're buying a business for 75,000?" And he said, "What's the lease like?" And I said, "There isn't one." And he said, "So they can kick you out at any stage you want, and you're not getting anything for the business. You don't get any assets for the business. It's just the right to be there." I said, "Yeah, pretty much. You got it right there." And of course, he said, "You're crazy. Don't do it." So the next day I went out and bought it, and it was so that was funded by the bank. So I went to the bank and said, "Look, we've got this business," and strangely enough, they lent it because there really wasn't anything to lend it against. So I did that. That was my first business loan, and that was pretty much got me started for the acquisition of the space, and that went really well. And then the shop behind me came up for sale. Again, same thing, just space, nothing else. They wanted a little bit less. I think it was about 45,000 for that. So I bought them out, dropped the wall, and expanded the store, and then the turnover doubled sort of the next
So you
day.
actually bought the land and building for that 75, the first one?
So no, it's just the casual the casual lease that I was buying access to.
Got it.
So didn't have any physical asset. It was just the right to trade there.
Yeah.
And the markets back then weren't even giving leases, so there's no surety of sales. But I thought, this is just too good. This position would be brilliant. I built a health shop there, and then doubled the size when the store behind came up for sale, and that went really well.
So great.
Yeah. So there's a few ups and downs along the way.
Yep. And in any of your other businesses or any of your businesses, have you had investors or business partners?
So no, most of them I started doing it on my own. I worked with my sister in the UK, and we had a partner with the property business, and that was my first introduction to business partners. Then got some other family involved in one business which didn't pan out too well, and then but since then I've been really focused on bringing partners into business with expertise. So we've got a whole bunch of different businesses now that we actually actively looking for partners with different expertise in that could just slot into there. And that's the main way that I've found is having that skill set come in as partners has been a real game changer for scaling businesses. Yeah.
If you were to start up today with plenty of funding, would you go into your industry, or I guess industries for you?
Yeah, it's funny. I've always looked for creative ways of funding without needing funding. So without needing to borrow money. So I can't really comment on that much because I've really never needed or never had the opportunity to fund. I think when you don't have access to funding, you become a lot more creative in your strategies. And you ask yourself a lot better questions. And I found you can there's always a way. There's always a solution. You're never the first one on the planet doing a certain thing. So with that mindset, how can I, asking yourself, how can I fund, and that's exactly what we did when we were in the UK in 2009. For 3 years, we were there. And the idea was to fund, because we'd bought a few properties already just using standard banks over there in London. And the idea was just to continue that, borrow money for the property acquisition, refurb it and refinance. And we wanted to do that. And then 2009-10, economy crashed, banks stopped lending, no one could get money anywhere. So we thought, well, how do we get money? Because we want to continue in that space. So we came up with a system that was actually being taught by an Australian guy who I'm, funny enough, now in partnership with in another business. And he was phenomenal at teaching you how to grow how to buy property without any of your own money. So creative finance. So we did a whole bunch of properties using creative finance. And again, it's just down to how can you do it without the money.
Can you outline the most stressful point in your small business growth journey so our audience can learn from it?
Yeah, definitely would be the restaurants. Going from one successful restaurant to thinking that I can scale that, and went into the second and third restaurant into summer. One of them was the busiest shopping centre in WA. So I thought, indestructible, bulletproof. I can do anything. Pans out, I couldn't. So yeah, that was definitely one of the most stressful situations where we were just leaking money left, right, and center. It was a good product in a bad location for us. There was multiple things. I take full ownership of the failure, but there was multiple things involved. The shopping center was doing a huge refurbishment and a couple of $100 million refurbishment, and they closed our main access point doors into the shopping center right in front of us. And there was a bunch of other things, but nonetheless, that was a huge learning curve. Being able to, as I said before, just draw a line in the sand and say, look, this is wasting way too much of my time and energy and money. I could potentially battle through it for the next couple of years, but what if I shut the doors tomorrow and then focus that next couple of years on building other things that I'm stronger at? And swallowing that pill, there's a whole lot of mental stuff that's involved in that, that I found. But I should have done it way earlier, because I was actually really worried. Oh, people are going to think I'm a failure. Who gives a shit? So
That's right.
I'm not losing money anymore. And and I think one person out of hundreds that we're involved in, I think one person said, "Oh, you're not there anymore? Oh, what happened?"
Yeah.
It was like, oh, okay. I was blowing that up in my mind a lot more than it really was. Yeah. But I think, Troy, the main takeaway that I got from that was there was so many learning experiences along the way, and we've got the choice. We can either say, okay, total failure, I stuffed up, I'm a loser, I'm no good at this stuff. Or you can reframe that and say, wow, I've learned a lot of lessons. I'm going to apply those lessons to my next businesses, and I'm going to absolutely smash it.
Yeah.
And that was the decision, taking that mindset, which was a lot more beneficial. And I definitely recommend, making smart choices of how you view anything in life. Does it benefit you and move you forward, or does it hold you back and ground you? We've all got that choice.
What area in business do you feel you've had to work on the most to add the greatest value?
Definitely the marketing. No question. Yeah, because as a naturopath, when I came out of college, they teach you how to be a good naturopath. And like most professions, they teach you how to be good at that profession and have absolutely no concept of, you come out with nothing related to how to actually grow a business. So lots of failures and a few successes, thankfully a few more successes than failures along the way. You learn how to grow businesses. You learn what doesn't work. You learn about language and sales and negotiation and digital marketing and lead generation. So they are just absolutely essential. I feel if everyone can master that side of things, you're never going to have an issue in business. If you
Yeah.
just bring more sales, you're set.
Totally agree. We talk about 5 growth pillars of people, strategy, marketing, funding, and systems. And the 2 main ones on the what I call the growth seesaw are people and marketing. And most small business owners, and I'm certainly guilty of this my first 5 or 10 years, can't spell marketing. Even if you don't own the marketing corner or you've got an agency, I really encourage owners to do a lot more professional development around the fundamentals of marketing. Like do a course, read the books. It's not that much time, but you become so much more informed about what good marketing looks like and what doesn't.
100%. It's just the foundation to any business, and no one spends, the ratio of time. Actually, I've just written a book with, I was just mentioning it with Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy. We've written a chapter in it, and my sister's written a chapter in it. We're both in it, and mine's on business growth and actually dopamine stimulation for business growth. Just a little bit of an angle that I like to focus on, but the business growth is just the process of growing your business is just what everyone should be spending at least 80% of the day on. So if we're not growing, if we're not bringing those leads in, there is no business. So you've got to work out how to outsource everything else, how to outsource anything that's not related to the growth of your business. And in my mind, it's just, if we spend 80% of the day, if we spend 6 hours a day or so on business growth, it's very hard to not succeed with that sort of focus. It's very hard not to get the growth in.
Yeah. What's the title of the book? And we'll link through to it in the show notes.
It's called I think I've got one right here, Cracking the Rich Code. Horrible name.
Cracking the Rich Code?
Yeah, Cracking the Rich Code. I absolutely hate the name. It's but I didn't. It's put out by Jim Britt, who's Jim Britt was actually I think he was one of the first mentors of Tony Robbins, and he's US based, and it's very cringy, that name, but we've got some focus on business growth in there. So business growth and dopamine. Dopamine's cool. I love talking about dopamine because it's another thing. Like I was saying before, we have choices of how we look at everything. And it either serves us or it doesn't. And dopamine is an awesome one because if we can stimulate more dopamine, it just opens your mind. It's an amazing endorphin the brain produces, and it just has the ability to open your mind to more opportunities. You just see a lot more ways of doing things, of getting creative, of making money, of increasing sales. So I go into it in the book in a bit of detail of some strategies that actually can help your business grow. Yeah.
What have you enjoyed least about managing fast growth?
I have to say there's not too much that I haven't enjoyed about growing fast because I've come from the other end of some really crappy sales and lost income. So when I'm in that growth mode, it's I just see every problem as an amazing thing that I'm grateful for, because if it's related to growth and you can skew things in the direction that you want them to be. So any problem that's related to growth, running out of stock or not enough team members or whatever it is, it's fantastic. I just see it as, this is fantastic. This means we're really growing now. So don't see it as a problem.
What do you love most about growing a small business?
Just knowing that you can influence the outcome. It's not like stocks and shares where it's a little bit of a gamble. Knowing that you can increase sales, you can increase profit. There's active steps that you can do that can totally change the outlook of your life. That I get really excited about. Yeah.
What has been the biggest mindset shift for you in your small business growth journey?
Biggest mindsets change, I think it would be related to the way, again, we interpret things. I had a mentor for a year who was very focused on the mindset, and we all know mindset's important, but we don't really understand the full value of it and how it works, because there's a lot of biochemical changes that occur when you stack your mindset in a certain way. So give you an example. So one of the programs I run in Indonesia is a weight loss program using ketogenic weight loss. And they did a study a few years ago measuring dopamine and oxytocin, which is produced by the brain, produced by the body but dopamine, as you may know, is a mood elevator, and it's the reward hormone. So when you've achieved something or fulfilled something, your body gives you a hit of this amazing dopamine. You feel great. And that's the little pat on the back that your body gives you. And it's a great way of encouraging positive, repetitive actions and outcomes. So they did, related to this weight loss, they measured two ladies, oxytocin. Oxytocin is another hormone. We produce a lot of it when we're just born, and it's the hormone that makes us feel really safe in our parents' arms, in our mum's arms. When we're first born, we secrete a lot of it. And when we're touched, the skin contact and hugged, then we produce more of this oxytocin. So it makes you feel good and safe. It's a real sort of community hormone. So what happened is these two ladies were measured, they had their blood levels measured of oxytocin. They both were on a diet. The first lady went through this diet, and she got through Monday to Friday, and then it was party time, and it was on the weekend. And she just gorged herself, drank lots of alcohol, ate pizzas, just went to town. And the other lady, also exactly the same. Monday to Friday, fantastic. And then it was party time on the weekend. Totally broke their diets. They measured their oxytocin on the Monday after the weekend. The first lady was asked, so how'd you go with the diet? And the lady said, oh, it was absolutely fantastic. From Monday to Friday, I was totally strict. I did incredibly well. Never thought I'd actually last that long. And so proud of myself. And the other lady was interviewed, and they said the same thing. How did you go with the diet? And she said, oh, it was absolutely terrible. On the weekend, I had the biggest blowout possible. And I always do this, and I can't stick to anything. I have no willpower. So they measured both the oxytocin, and lo and behold, the lady that took the positive view on the week, her oxytocin was through the roof. The lady that beat herself up about the weekend, her oxytocin was really, really low. The lady with the high oxytocin went on to lose weight at a very rapid rate. So after that weekend, they measured her weight regularly. She got phenomenal results. The lady with the low oxytocin, terrible results, didn't lose any weight. So there's a really interesting connect about how we view life and how we view outcomes and the relationship to the results that they bring us. So everyone in business knows we should be positive thinking. We all know that. Everyone in life understands that. But understanding the biochemistry behind it is really fascinating because you can just use it to your advantage. There's ways of stimulating oxytocin and dopamine in a positive, healthy way other than, doom scrolling through your social media. But there's ways of stacking it in your favor so that you can actually advance yourself. You can keep yourself motivated. You can get up early. You can be really, really focused. You can have better outcomes of looking for opportunities. So that's a very long-winded way of answering your question, which I can't even remember what it was now, but I think it was related to what I just talked about.
It was mindset shift, yeah.
Yeah, right. Cool.
The number one habit you think a small business owner needs to develop and maintain?
I'm big on discipline, but I use discipline and cold baths. Actually, we did a Guinness Book of World Records a little while ago for ice baths, and that was really related to the dopamine stimulation, because that stimulates your dopamine by a couple of 100% when you have a cold bath, and that dopamine sets you up for the rest of the day to be in a positive zone. So the discipline for me, I find that's really useful because when you're if you're disciplined in one aspect of your life, you can bring it across to other aspects. That's just what I feel. But I know there's a whole bunch of people out there that don't have any discipline in anything, but they're really successful in their business. So for me, that's kind of something that resonates with me, but I don't think it's probably essential because other people are doing it okay without it. Yeah.
Want specific advice to help you get your business through its number one growth challenge? Book a free 20-minute growth chat with me, Troy, the founder of Grow a Small Business. I'll recommend some resources which will help you grow your business with ease so you can live the lifestyle you've signed up for. Go to growasmallbusiness.com and click on Growth Chat. Yeah, you've hired a lot of people over the decades. Can you talk to how you've added people to the team, some wins, mistakes, advice for those listening?
Yeah, we've actually refined our process of recruitment as you can imagine to over the numbers that we've been through, and we've had lots of success, lots of failures with it. But what we do now is we focus on so we recruit usually using LinkedIn, and then we send out we ask a few initial questions, and then we send out a form. And this form captures all sorts of things, like it does a bit of an IQ test with puzzles. It asks them certain questions. It records their voice so that we know that they communicate, because we're obviously dealing with different countries around the world. So we need to understand if we can communicate really effectively with them. The key things that really stand out are effective communication. Can that person communicate at a high level? And it's Western focused understanding. They have Western focused understanding. For example, one of the guys that we recruited that worked for us for far too long, he was generating images of, when AI first came in, lasagna with blueberries in it. So that local knowledge and understanding, is really, really important. And I think also the leadership side of it. So previously I'd be pretty fast to hire and fast to fire. So if they weren't performing, it would be, okay, guys, thanks, but you don't really fit the concept. Now I think I've got a little bit more patient and have more of an understanding around the fact that we can encourage team members, like we can grow them, and they may not be in the right seat on the bus, but they're still on the right bus. So it might be a question of moving them to another seat on that bus that fits with their skill set. So when people come in, I don't really care too much. Attitude's the number one thing.
Yep.
And skill set is good as well, but it doesn't have to be everything, because I'll ask them what their skills are, and then we can potentially, if they've come in for, say, a graphic design work, but they're amazing at lead generation, then it might be like, well, how about coming over to that team, sitting in that team? So yeah, there's a few little learning curves along the way.
And what are some of the things you recommend to building a sustainable and kick-ass culture to help with the growth?
Regular communication is 100% essential. So we try and succeed to do connections a minimum of once a week, but I really like to do a 4-minute connect with most of my major team players every day. So everyone being on the same team is really, really important. Same page is super important. And, I find the moment that I let that lapse, that opportunity to connect lapse, relationships start breaking because they go off on a bit of a tangent. They lose the direction that I want to drive the business, or that we collectively want to drive the business. So that communication for me is non-negotiable. Yeah.
Tell our audience how you handle balance.
Bloody terribly. Yeah, really bad at it. So yeah, no, I don't know. I think it's very hard to do. It's, when you're focused on something and you're giving it 18 hours a day, it's very hard. I'm open to, Troy, tell me.
It's hard for me. It's always been a problem for me because I love what I do. I'm not sure if that's your curse as well, but
Yep.
I put things in place. So I take my chocolate Labrador Carlton supporter for a bushwalk nearly every day, book in things with friends and my partner, and make sure I've got things locked in. Otherwise, I could just keep working.
Yeah. That sounds good. I'm writing those down.
And a fair bit of sport too. I love my basketball and also watching sport, cricket and Aussie rules, etc. Of course. So
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I've got the exercise bit in. I don't have the balance. I haven't got the balance sorted with other aspects of my life. I've got the health side, but yeah, some of the family and social bits, very lacking.
and how much professional development have you invested in yourself? Sounds like a lot.
Oh yeah, hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years. Yeah, which and our, I mean, even YouTube these days is fantastic for getting so many skills and developing them. But I've had some fantastic mentors over the years. I'm more than happy to put money back into mentorship and growth in learning whatever I'm passionate about at the moment that's going to advance me. That sort of stuff just pays dividends endlessly. So
Yeah.
big time. Yeah.
So you've mentioned mentors, so I assume also coaches as well.
Yeah, business coach, mindset, property growth, business growth, all those sort of things. Yeah.
Do you have a board of directors or advisors?
No, we don't. It's pretty basic structure. We just have more the operators involved, and we're a bit pretty hands-on to a fair extent.
Now, Nathan, you're one of the few I've had on that has exited a business. Any advice for those listening that are thinking about exiting one day or should be thinking about it?
Yeah, it's certainly handy to set it up from day one to be able to exit with that in mind. And yeah, so my exit was from the health industry so I had in the end built up three stores and a supplement brand. So I sold pretty much all those at the same time. We had a couple of different buyers come in, and that was excellent. But yeah, making sure that there's profitability there and also systems and processes in place. Love a good SOPs, the standard operating procedures.
Yeah.
Really big in that. In our NumberFied, I've said to the team, guys, when new clients come in, we have to build the best SOP that they've ever had. So, because I've always had bookkeepers and accountants, none of them ever done that. So for my businesses, I want you to create the most amazing, thorough, detailed, daily, weekly, monthly, annual, everything. I want dates. I want reminders. I want this package so bloody good that if they don't like the smell of our aftershave and they want to go somewhere else, they've got this amazing asset that they can take, which has got everything they need just as a handover. So in answer to your question, what, setting yourself up, that those sort of procedural guides are just awesome to have when selling a business as well.
All right, Nathan, one of our final 5 questions. What do you think is the hardest thing in growing a small business?
I think having the skill set in the marketing side, learning that, and being on your own. We've gone from being on our own to more of a community now, and I think, yeah, that just takes you through the problems. Use people that have been there, done it. It's fantastic. Fast track.
Favorite business book which has helped you the most?
Oh, it's an amazing one called Cracking the Rich Code, actually. No. So favorite business book. I've read a ton of different negotiation books. I can't tell you any titles off the top of my
Chris
head.
Voss, Never Split the Difference.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a key takeaway.
How to
Absolutely.
negotiate. The strap line's How to Negotiate if your life depended on it. It's the ex-lead terrorist negotiator for the FBI. It's a great book.
There you go. You've read a few. You're into that side of it?
I do about 13 hours a week of listening to books and audio podcasts, usually on 1.5 to 2 hours speed. So I do a shit ton of learning throughout the year. If I just listen to books, that's 144 books a year. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, I love the negotiation books because I remember the first time I'd read a book and then I'd practiced it in a real event. And I said all the lines, and I basically asked, there was a water jug that this guy was selling and we were buying a couple of hundred of them. And I said, look, if we buy a couple of hundred of them, and he wanted $10. And I said, if we buy a couple of hundred of them, can you give them to us for $2.50? And because it's always, when you're negotiating, you always ask for more than you expect to get. And it felt so freaking uncomfortable. And I was just cringing there. And I thought that was the end of the world. And then he came back immediately and said, okay, yeah, we can do that. And I was like,
Wow,
this stuff works. This is cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Any great podcasts or online learning tools you use for your own professional development?
Big fan of Alex Hormozy. He's really good. And yeah, I'll just trawl through YouTube and just find whatever I'm thinking about at the time. A lot of AI. Use a lot of my wife tells me AI is my best mate because we're always chatting. we're always doing it by voice.
Yeah.
So for mentorship, it's bloody amazing. I mean, you can get answers to so many problems just by, voice is great. I'll be coming back from the beach and I'll say, oh, got this problem. All right, what would you suggest as solutions? And then it just triggers a whole lot more ideas. So that I use a fair bit.
And one tool you'd recommend to help grow a small business?
I love the automation tools. We use a few different automation, like Instantly. So for lead generation, we use a bunch of different things. For outreach, for sending automated messages through LinkedIn and different social medias. So that has been a bit of a game changer for booking appointments and meetings and things like that. So yeah, love those sort of softwares.
Finally, my favorite question. What would you tell yourself on day one of starting out?
It'd be something around the lead generation and the marketing, like learn it and do it. Spend a lot of your time of your day just finding out how to generate more sales. Full stop.
Thanks so much for your time today, Nathan. I really enjoyed our chat. Look forward to catching up when you're here in Hobart or I'm in Perth. Grab a coffee. Your first business was at age 6, selling paper airplanes. You didn't sell one, but got the bug. And since then has gone on to have 15 your own small businesses like myself. Yours from health to real estate and everything in between. One is now a very successful food and catering business, growing at around 100% a year after appearing on Shark Tank a few years ago. And the other starting the other main business in 2016, which has grown from 1 FTE to 80 now, providing an affordable small business growth team who are based all throughout Australia, US, India, Philippines, and Pakistan. Thanks so much, mate.
Awesome, Troy. Thanks for having me, buddy.
We're getting some great iTunes reviews. For those listening, please pop over to your podcast app and leave us a review.